1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome, everyone. This is Joe Dagger, the host of the Business 901 podcast. With me today is Keatron Evans. He is the managing partner at CyberSecurity, a global information security consulting business which includes penetration testing, incident response management and consulting, digital forensics, and training. Keatron is also a senior security advisor at Savvius and a top-rated instructor for ISACA and ISACA. He is also one of the authors of Chained Exploits, Advancing Hacking Attacks from Start to Finish, a textbook still used by the U.S. government security agencies. Keatron, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
Your book, for a good example, Chained Exploits, is a textbook still used by U.S. government security agency. And you run certification courses. Tell me what it takes to get certified and what you teach there. I mean, I think you've been doing certification courses for a while.
Yeah, I have. And you know, to segue into that, part of the reason I still do the courses is because I get an amazing amount of enjoyment out of sharing the information and putting it out and watching people digest it and coming up with innovative ways to where people actually get it. So that's kind of one of my passions. But yes, I've been doing the certification classes for a really long time. Some of the, all of the top training organizations in the industry have used me for various types of classes. And one of the ones that's our main class is Certified Ethical Hacker. So we take someone with basic IT skills, we bring them in and we teach them the tools and techniques of hackers. They master those tools and techniques, and then we certify them at the end by having them take the official Certified Ethical Hacker exam. Okay, and it's a 5-day course, and on the 5th day, it's mostly you testing. We do a half day of lecture and half day of getting you prepared again for the exam, and then the second half of the last day, you actually take the official exam, and you're certified when you leave on Friday. Now, we've just introduced a more advanced version of it called the Certified Ethical Hacker Practical. Yeah, so not only do you have to do the written exam, but you have to do about a 10-hour practical where you are attacking targets that we've set up, and you have to break into those targets, get specific data off those targets, and write a report about what you did to get that certification. But that's more advanced. It's definitely not entry level, but people find it challenging because they actually have to not only prove that they have the knowledge from the written exam, but they have to actually demonstrate it hands-on. So those are kind of the two biggest, the most popular classes that we run right now. Obviously, incident response is really popular, and computer forensics is still really popular as well. But those are the main 3 core technical security classes that we run. And what we found when you were talking about how do you know if this is happening to you, one of the things that we found, Joe, and we've got good data to reflect this, is the number one way that we've been able to improve the IQ of an organization when it comes to whether or not they're attacked is taking their technical people and putting them in these ethical hacking classes. Because what happens is suddenly when they go back and they're looking at their networks, they're able to see signs, they're able to see indicators that they just couldn't see before because they hadn't been exposed to what these attacks look like yet.
Are you putting a class on shortly? I mean, do you run these often? I mean, when's your next class?
The next one that I'm running there's one September 10th in Birmingham, Alabama. And it'll be a pretty good one. We have some good people signed up. And, I wanted to kind of point out one of the values that come out of these classes, too, is the networking, right? You have a security guy from this bank, and then you have an IT security guy from another bank, and they start talking to each other, and, oh, well, this is happening. They share threats, and they learn from each other just as much as they learn from me sometimes on certain topics. And I've even seen great connections, like people end up with jobs, right? Like there might be a person that's got maybe he's working as a Geek Squad technician at Best Buy or something like that, and he wants to get into cybersecurity, so he comes and takes a class. Well, also in the class is a chief information security officer for a Fortune 500 organization that's looking to hire people. right? And if this guy is really good in the class, that person ends up with a job offer all of a sudden. So the learning is a big part of it, but there are other peripheral things that people get out of these classes, the networking, getting jobs and even getting employees. For me, myself, my practice, I've gotten some of my best employees from classes that I've taught, and been able to pull, people out of those classes that are unemployed. Obviously we can't hire people that already have jobs, because that would be a violation of integrity for your company to pay me to teach your employee, and then I steal them from you. So in our training, we have very strict contracts that say that we won't do that, and we'll also prevent your employees from getting hired on with other people as they're in that job as well. But we do foster, if you need a job, this is one place to come. In these classes, you can probably get hooked up, because there's a lot of people able to make hiring decisions in these classes.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating subject. I think a fascinating space to be in right now. Is there anything that you'd like to add to this conversation that maybe I didn't ask?
Yeah, sure. So we do quite a bit of public outreach and evangelism. So on our website, kmcybersecurity.com, I've got a very popular article that I wrote just a few months ago, and the article is titled, how to get into technical cybersecurity, like what your steps should be to get into it. And it's been a well-received article. It's been shared on LinkedIn and places like that thousands of times. So we're going to start now doing more of that, just kind of laying out a roadmap, doing outreach to show people. We want to kind of become the go-to bridge, right, for people to get into cybersecurity. Whether you have money or not, whether you're taking a class or not, even if you're taking a class from somewhere else or taking it from another provider, we kind of want to be a bridge to show you, look, go do these things first before you sign up for any class, so that, everybody ends up with a successful experience when they take the class, whether they do it with us or not.
Yeah. What's the level of IT knowledge that I need to take the class to get certified?
I think you have to have what we call power user level skills or better. For example, if you're listening, if I were to say, hey, tell me your Windows IP address, can you do that? If you can do that, then you're probably power user level. If I were to say, ping google.com and see if you're getting a response, if you know what that means and you can set down to your computer and execute that, then you probably are at that power user level. That's kind of a level check for us to see if the person has the right skills or not. If you've never seen the Windows command line before, then maybe you're not. Maybe there's some remediation or some things you need to kind of beef up on before you would sit a class like that. And again, that's part of what we're doing in outreach, is we're creating that kind of, hey, can you do these 10 things? If so, you're ready. If not, go look at these free videos and learn how to do this before you sign up for a class.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to thank you very much. What's the best way for someone to contact you? Is it through your website?
They can reach me on the website, or they can also just reach me at kevans@kmcybersecurity.com.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Keatron. I find it field very fascinating. This podcast will be available on the Business 901 iTunes Store and the Business 901 website. So I want to thank all the listeners for listening.
All right. Thank you, Joe.